Hello and welcome to the Brutal Iron Gym podcast, where our goal is to cut through the BS and deliver the brutal truth about topics related to health and happiness. Today's podcast is number 1557. The topic is Q&A and the title is Creating More Toned Upper Arms. So I had an Instagram comment. Somebody messaged me through Instagram and they said that they've dieted, they lost weight, they're kind of at a good weight where they want to be. They feel fit, they feel happy, they feel good with their overall look, but their upper arms aren't as defined as they'd like them to be. They feel they're a little soft. There's not really good shape to them, and in certain positions, if their arm's like pressed against them, they feel it makes their arm look fat. And they're like, what do I do? So they don't want to continue to diet because they feel like they're at the right weight. They feel happy and healthy, and they have a good balance between nutrition and balancing life demands and stuff. So they really like where they are. But that upper arm kind of effect is bothering them. So we had a recent podcast, number 1549, which is a nutrition podcast titled Transitioning Out of a Fat Loss Phase. This would be very helpful for them. So they're going to want to do everything in that podcast and then extra stuff that we're going to talk about today. But a real quick review, if you don't want to listen to all the way to 1549. By the way, you can find all of our podcasts on our website, www.brutalirongym.com. But the tips in that podcast was to reduce your caloric deficit. If you've now reached your current weight that you are happy with, you don't need to be in as much of a deficit because you're not trying to continue to drive weight downward. So you can just add simply 100 calories to your daily targets and try that for 2 weeks and see if that helps your weight kind of normalize and stay where you are. That will help to reduce cortisol. That helps to create a better water retentional balance in the body. So therefore, it can actually clean up the look of your upper arms. Also, the second tip there in that podcast was to get your protein at the top of your range. So in general, we want our protein to be around 0.6 to 1 gram per pound of body weight. So if you weigh 150 pounds, you would eat 0.6 to 1 times 150. So 0.6 times 150, I have to actually do a little calculator here to make sure I don't mess that up, is 90 grams. So 90 to 150 grams. That would be the general range. If you're anywhere within that range, start creeping up more towards that 1 times body weight range. So if your range is, say 80 to 135, try to get closer to the 135. So try to get your protein towards the top of that range. And that will, again, help to regulate body composition. You'll have a little less water retention. You'll have a little bit of a more refined kind of a muscle-based look. You're not going to get manly or like a bunch of veins anywhere. It's just going to get rid of some of that softness that you might feel in that upper arm. And then another tip was to reduce extremes in your training. So if you've been training 4 or more times a week and it's been pretty crazy full body training, maybe just backing that down to 3 times a week and then doing like a yoga routine or going for a walk. Sometimes if we've been really pushing activity, reducing some of the intensity can help again reduce water retention, help reduce overall stress in the body, and that can actually allow for you to have a little bit of a tighter look at your current body weight. The other little extra tips were to make sure you check your daily sugars. Try to keep your sugars under 60 grams per day. Make sure you have a consistent water intake. You want between half to 1 times your body weight in fluid ounces a day. And again, the higher towards the range, the better. And then try to make more consistent sodium intake every day. If your sodium intake has big swings every day, you'll have big swings in water retention. So addressing all of those things that we talk about in podcast 1549 will help. Then, what else can you do? It's actually simple in concept, and then it's just kind of making it a habit. But just add like 5 minutes of arm work or upper body work as many times as you can throughout the week. Whether you get it 3 days, 4 days, 5 days, 6 days, just 5 minutes. And what I typically recommend for clients is to get a light pair of dumbbells off Amazon. 5-pound dumbbells, 7-pound dumbbells, 8-pound dumbbells, 10-pound dumbbells, whatever they may be. If you can get say you can get 2, 5, 8, and 10. That's probably enough. I would say that that's probably enough. And then as you get a little stronger, maybe you need some 12s and 15s. But the idea is you get a couple light sets of dumbbells. And then you do 2 movements back to back for 5 minutes. Typically, the movement categories is some type of, bicep curl and tricep extension. You can do standing bicep curls or seated bicep curls, and then take the dumbbells up over your head and kind of do overhead extensions. And you can look on YouTube, just type in bicep curl variations, and then find a couple that you like. And then type dumbbell tricep exercises. Find a couple you like. You can also pair with it like back raises, like if you do bent over lateral raises, that works your upper back. You can also do standing bent over rows, whether it's 2 arms or 1 arm, and that can help work your upper back, and that helps shape your shoulder. And then you can also do overhead presses and lateral raises. If you don't know what those are, just search for them on YouTube. But you just pair together. Typically, I would do some type of back row or raise with an overhead press or raise, like a shoulder raise. So pretty much back and shoulders I do back and forth. And then the other day you would do like biceps and triceps back and forth. But what you would do is you kind of alternate between those 2 different focal points each time you do it. You just pick 2 movements and then you go back to back for 5 minutes. You can start with a weight that allows you to get 15 to 20-ish reps. And then as you kind of go back and forth, your strength's going to drop, your muscles are going to burn. You might only be getting like 5 or 10 reps per movement as you go back and forth. But that's the idea. Is just keep moving as much as you can in 5 minutes. So you set a 5-minute timer. Exercise 1, I might do 20 reps. Exercise 2, I do 20 reps. I take a couple deep breaths. I go back to exercise 1. Maybe this time I get 15 reps. Maybe the exercise 2, I get 15 reps. I take a couple deep breaths. Then I get 10 reps and 10 reps, a couple deep breaths, and then 5 and 5, a breath, 5 and 5, a breath, 5 and 5, and then bam, 5 minutes is up. That's the idea. Just set 5 minutes on a timer and then move for 5 minutes as much as you can. The idea is it's not a lot of time invested. It's only 5 minutes, but it should be a lot of muscle burn invested. It should be kind of annoying and actually like burn a little bit. If it's not burning, it's not going to create the effect that you want. But also, if everything is so heavy and you have to be spending more of the 5 minutes actually resting than actually working, then it's too heavy and that's not the effect you want. So really, you want something that you can do when you first start the movements, about 15 to 20 reps, and then as you go back and forth with short little 10-minute rests, short little 10-second rests. So you do exercise 1, exercise 2, take like 10 seconds. Exercise 1, exercise 2, take 10 seconds. And if you do that back to back for 5 minutes, that's going to be a really good muscle burn. And then you would aim to do that a couple times a week. You can do that 3 times a week, 4 times a week, something like that. That would be a good kind of amount to aim for that would give you some kind of visible difference in 4 weeks. If you're only getting it once or twice a week, it's not gonna do much for you. So 5 minutes, 3 to 4 times a week. Set it on, your calendar. Do it Monday, Wednesday, Fridays. Try to make a routine out of it. Pair it with something that you normally do. So every time you break for lunch in the middle of the day, you do your 5-minute routine. Every time you do laundry, you do your 5-minute routine. Every time you cook something or do the dishes, you do your 5-minute routine. Just pair it with something you already do every day, and that will help make it more consistent as well. Okay? So if you want to create more toned upper arms, you would want to listen to podcast 1549, do everything it says in there, and then add little 5-minute routines so that way you can get a little bit of muscle burn, a little bit of muscle shape and muscle stress in that area, and that'll help to create more of a toned look to your upper arm. Awesome. So that's it. It can be that simple. Just try all that stuff. It's simple in understanding what to do, but it can be challenging in how to do it. So if you want any help setting it up or getting into routine, just reach out. Our email is brutalirongym@gmail.com. Okay, so you can create more toned upper arms absolutely in 4 weeks. You can make a big difference, make those nutritional changes, then add in that little bit of 5-minute training a couple times a week, and within 4 weeks, you will feel and see a difference in your arms. Awesome. Well, reach out if you need anything, okay? So if you have any questions, feedback, suggestions, anything you want to know, let me know at my email at brutalirongym@gmail.com. If you like our podcast, please share it. When you share it, let people know that they can ask questions like this person did. They asked a question on Instagram and they get a podcast made for them. It's that simple. That's what we want this podcast to be, whatever you need it to be. And then thank you to those who donate to support the podcast. There is a hosting cost every year associated with the podcast. I give an hour to it every day, and we want to keep it for free. So thank you to those who donate. You can donate on our website at www.brittlirongym.com. And then if you like the information we share in our podcast, we share more on social media all the time. Instagram every day, YouTube a lot. So find us and follow us on those two platforms. And as always, I hope this was helpful, and thank you for listening.